Welcome to Life Expressions. I'm your host, Charie Ginete-Ilon. Today, we're diving into an extra special episode as we wrap 2024 and set our sights on an incredible 2025. This year has been all about igniting your spark from service to purpose, attraction to resilience, and then deep knowing that guides us. As we step into the new year, it's the perfect time to reflect, reset, and recharge our spark habits to ensure we're stepping into 2025 with clarity, intention, and unstoppable energy. In this episode, we'll explore the simple yet powerful spark habits that can transform your life, habits to help you serve with impact, align with your purpose, attract positivity, bounce back stronger than ever, and cultivate the inner wisdom that keeps you grounded. Whether you're setting your goals, embracing new challenges, or rekindling your dreams, these habits will set the stage for a year filled with growth and success. So grab your journal, your favorite drink, and a heart full of gratitude as we prepare to make 2025 our brightest year yet. So, to help me with this episode, we have two incredible guests who have been instrumental in helping people ignite their spark and transform their lives. First is none other than Azim Jamal, a renowned author, coach, and the brilliant mind behind the Spark Framework. Azim has inspired thousands of people around the world through his book Spark from Success to Significance and his powerful masterclasses, where he guides individuals to discover their inner light and create a life of purpose, success, and significance. And joining us is someone who has worked closely with Azim and who I have had the privilege of collaborating with as well, Farzana Kherani. Farzana has been a key part of the Spark journey, assisting in the masterclasses and bringing her own unique insights and energy to the experience. Her dedication and passion for helping others live their best lives always shine through, and I can attest to this. So let's start this. Welcome, Azim and Farzana. How are you
Thank you.
today?
Thank you. Thank you. We're all very well. Thank you.
How
You.
about you, Farzana?
I'm doing well, thank you very much.
I am excited about 2025 because personally, Azim has helped me, you know, uh, put priorities on what matters most and define my ultimate purpose credo. And yeah, my spark has been ignited, and now I am trying to really make a positive impact and ignite the spark of others as well. But something was created and shared by Azim in the second master class, and that is the best practice discussion. So, Azim, why did you introduce the best practices of Spark in the second master class?
What I found out from the first master class, we did about 15 different topics incorporated in the framework of Spark, the acronym of Spark. And then I found that to implement those 15 habits or items that we had covered was not easy for people. To create unconscious competence required some best practices that people were able to apply, and that would help them in implementation. Yeah, so I think that was the idea. So I think that that piece was missing for me. And so we introduced the 5 best practices. And while going through the second masterclass, I realized that there are 7 more best practices that the third masterclass will be benefiting from. So it's an evolution of the whole, transformation. Because the idea before was the book, The Journey
Yeah.
from Success to Significance. Then came the masterclass, and the masterclass was the first one, and it was a trial in some way, right? And so I think every time I'm going to do a new masterclass, there are going to be some tweaking happening.
Yeah, there's always room for improvement. Yeah, yes, because that's
The
as
biggest room
we
in the
always
world is the
say.
room for improvement.
Exactly. Yeah, but before we get into the best practices, what's the word for you in 2025?
Yeah, I think for me personally is how do you ignite the spark moment by moment? That's the intention. Because things happen moment by moment, plus, minus, indifferent, good, bad, indifferent, but you can still retain the spark moment by moment. And that's the goal for this year for me.
Yeah. How about you, Farzana?
I would say that there's two words that kind of come to mind right away. One is accept, and the other is persevere.
Oh, wow. Accept and persevere. For me, it's breakthrough and unstoppable. So it's exciting. So now let's get into the best practices, Azim. Starting the year often feels overwhelming. How do we narrow our focus to what truly matters? This is like first things first.
Yeah, I think, the differentiation here is long-term, short-term. You see, first things first, you have to align to your ultimate purpose credo, what your life is going to be defined by. Now, most people will think that's a far off, 90 years old, I'll be dying, it's too long away. But we don't know when the time comes to go, right? So first thing first, align to your ultimate purpose credo, what my goal in life is. How do I bring it to a day-to-day basis? Secondly, is to look at your affirmation attraction. What are you trying to create an identity for? Who do you want to become as a person? So you bring that to the fore as well. What's your service mantra aligned to your birthday gift, what you're born with? Having clarity of that, then you say what the first thing first should be for the day. If you don't do it that way, then you will be doing a lot of stuff which are immediate gratification, but are not aligned to your ultimate purpose because they don't seem to be nearby, right?
Yeah, so when you start the day, always remember what's your purpose? Always start with that. How about you, Farzana? Like, what's your personal strategy in making sure your priorities don't get lost in the noise?
I think that's something that I've done a lot of work with because there is a lot of noise and there consistently is. And I find that when I write a list of what my priorities are first thing in the morning, that noise can keep happening, but I'm doing what I need to do and I'm
Yeah.
doing it in the best way that I can. And so making that list, whether it's 2 items or 5 items. I think Azim really taught us in these master classes that it's important to have, on your list, what's your family goal for the day, what's your work goal for the day, what's your personal goal for the day, and
Yeah.
try and achieve those each day. And when you do, the noise is going to be there, but it's not going to affect you in the same way.
Yeah. True. And then, of course, in setting our priorities, first things first, we have to define the difference between important and urgent. Why important before urgent?
I think the important basically aligns with your long-term goals. Urgent is something that, for example, when you're attending to emails or phone calls or text messages, usually it's important to the other person who's sending it to you, the text or the email or the phone call. So if you define, I mean, one of the ideas I give some of my clients is start your day with the top three business and the top three personal things. And these top three things are aligned to your longer term perspective and start the morning by getting it done. Once you get it done from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. or whatever it is by 11 a.m., you get it out of the way. Then you can be able to do other things because you've taken care of the most important things.
Mhm.
The example I shared with the chairman once, and to do the top three things. And next morning he calls me at 9 o'clock and said, I'm done. I said, Chairman, I don't mean something simple. He said, no, I had a tax problem. I was procrastinating for 6 years. When you told me to attend to something most important, I decided to do that. I woke up early in the morning, got it done. I did two more goals. It's not even 9 o'clock in the morning. So it's really about not how many things you do, it's what you do, aligned to
Yeah.
what your most important thing is.
Yeah, like I like that. It's not how many things you do, it's what you do. And that is like geared towards what's most important. Do you have any strategy, Farzana, in doing that? How do you balance long-term goals with the demands of everyday life?
For me, I feel like your long-term goals are something that you're working towards every single day. So it's not about how your demands of everyday life are. It's what are you doing to accomplish that long-term goal? And you have to think about it like Lego. You have multiple pieces. It's not one piece isn't going to make the masterpiece that you're looking at. Each piece is going to build and make that masterpiece look good. So I think even with goals, every day that you're doing something, I wouldn't say demand, but each thing or priority that you put into place makes your long-term goal what it's going to be and what you've already succeeded at wanting it to be.
Yeah, it's the little things you do every day consistently
Yeah.
that will lead you to your goal, right? Like, and so, Azim, why is it important to avoid being caught in the urgency trap? And how do we shift out of it?
I think it's becoming intentional, right? So the point is that once you are caught up in the activity trap, you're busy, being busy, busy, and then you're just doing things in terms of quantity, not in terms of quality, right? So I think that's critical. And then once again, it's not the number of things you finish, it's what you finish. And the things that matter most must never be at the mercy of things that matter least. And that being intentional about what things that matter most, right, is very critical. And you have 24 hours a day. And sometimes 24 hours looks so little, and sometimes it can be like eternity.
Yeah.
You see, so that's how you design your life, how intentional you become, and focus on less is more. Less
Yeah.
of important is better than more of unimportant, but knowing what the less is. And there are 6 areas in your life that are important. One is your family, one is your health, one is your spirituality, your work, your finance, your lifelong learning. There are 6 areas that brings balance in your life. And if you're able to focus on the core things that you need to do and get them out of the way, then you allow some time, which is time for interruptions, time for responding, time for reacting, but leave that at the end of the day when you're tired and when you don't need too much energy. But when your energy is the highest, you want to do the most important work. So being aware of when your energy is the highest. For me, my energy is the highest in the early morning. So I do the most important, the most complex things in the morning because that's where I'm at my peak. And then later on in the day, in the afternoon, because I wake up so early, I'm getting a little bit tired, I can attend to emails and other stuff, which are reactions, which don't require as much energy.
Yeah.
Now, my wife, for example, has more energy in the evening, so she has to change her way of approach in what she does, right? So I think knowing your energy and managing your energy is not just time management, it's energy management as well.
Yeah, and you manage yourself too, because
Of
you
course.
know your priorities. Like, we cannot focus on what's important if we do not know what's important. So we get back to you have to know first what's most important for you. Let me ask you, Farzana, what's most important to you?
Oh, wow. Great question. My family, of course, is a priority and is very important to me. And I want to be there for them every day, every second, and every moment that they allow me to be there. It's not about me wanting to be there, it's them allowing me to be there. And it's very different. And I think, second is that purpose of why I'm here. I can work well, I can help people, I can do multiple different things. But what's the real reason why I'm here? What is my purpose? And if everyone in the world can just sit back and take that step back and realize what their purpose is, I really feel like this world would be a very different place to be living in.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Farzana. How about you, Azim? What's most important for you?
Great question. I think basically, as I mentioned before, is that my birthday gift is something that was given to me for a purpose to make an impact in people's life. So making sure I optimize that, in terms of what my credo is in my life, that's important for what my life will be defined by. And then having the identity that you want to create for yourself, which defines who you are also important. So those are the kind of things which are centerpiece around which your life revolves. Your service mantra, you want to be of service day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, in the areas that you best contribute. Of course, you want to
Yeah,
serve in anything else as well, but knowing what you best do and using it for the purpose allows you to be in the flow state, whereby you lose track of time, you're totally engrossed in what you're doing. And so, yeah, I think it's not easy because, life is not straightforward. There are many different things happen every morning, every
yeah,
day. And it's
yeah,
really about being in your peak state, no matter
yes,
what. Things will
yeah,
happen, people will put you off guard. The light broke this morning, things happen. But
yeah,
you still have your spark alive, and reminding yourself that the circumstances don't define you, you define yourself, and your internal
true.
state defines yourself. So those are the things that create the foundation, the principles, the anchor by which you evolve.
I always go back to what you share with us that the moment you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It always boils down to yourself, the way you look at things. Now, that's the first habit. First things first. What's the second habit for the best practice of Spark, Azim?
So we talked about effective delegation, and why effective delegation is important is because we're not good at everything. So you're focusing on what your core gift is, but you need other people to do things. For example, both of you participated in the first masterclass as a participant. In the second masterclass, you helped out with Charie. You did the opening and the closing, and you were able to facilitate the question and answer session. Farzana was managing the breakout session. So by me delegating some stuff to both of you freed me to focus on what I do best, so rather than being worried about the breakout or worry about what's the opening and all that stuff, right? So I think the items that people have to worry about in terms of chat and whatnot, right? So I think delegation is very important for you to work at your core skills. Yeah. Now, delegation has many pieces to it, of course. You can only delegate if you're crystal clear about your goals. You can only delegate if your goal is not delegating for one thing. Your purpose is not delegating to finish this thing. The purpose of delegation is to build capacity. So by involving you and Farzana, okay, you helped me with the masterclass, but there's a bigger purpose of building capacity. So in the long term, you can get more done by doing the trainer or doing other stuff that you can be part of, because you're building capacity with the people, right? So keeping in mind the short-term goal of finishing the task that you have for delegation, and the long-term goal is to build capacity. And if you have both this in mind, you don't rush in terms of doing your delegation. You slow down to speed up. You do less to achieve more. Small becomes big, right?
Yeah, I like that. It's empowering others as well. And thank you for empowering me and Farzana for involving us in the second Ignite Your Spark Masterclass. For you, Farzana, what's one piece of advice that you'd like to share for those of us who struggle to delegate?
I would say the advice I would give is trust. And it's a difficult thing to do when you feel like, you have to do everything. So when you're delegating, trust that it's going to get done. It may not get done like right away, or it may not get done for a couple of hours, or, maybe even a day, but you have to trust that you've delegated and it's going to get done. And you have to take that step back and realize that it's okay for it to take the time that it does, because not everyone is going to do it quickly. And you just have to understand that. So I would say trust is the best advice I can give.
Yeah, that also brings back to mind the deepening the bench. If you're in a corporate world, you've got to deepen the bench, empower others so that you can do more things, right? And grow the company even more. Even in the family, you'd grow the family faster and you'd help the members of the family become empowered when you delegate. Let's go to excellence, not perfection. Azim, how can we let go of perfectionism? Because sometimes, like, we want to always be the best at what we do, and that's great. But sometimes we want to go a little extra. We want to be perfect, but we know there's no perfection. And so instead, we need to focus on progress. What do you say to that, Azim?
Yeah, I think it's a fine line. It's a fine line being, the thing we talked about in the masterclass about the secret sauce.
Yeah.
The secret sauce is doing a little extra.
Mm.
So you want to do a little extra to go from ordinary to extraordinary. Of course, you want to strive for excellence. But when you talk about perfection, that's when problem starts to happen, right? Because only God is perfect. So there's a time when you have to draw the line. Plus, in life, there's timelines, right? You don't have 24 years to do one thing, right? You can do one perfect thing, but you'll only finish one thing. So they've got to draw lines somewhere, right? So set a high standard, very high standard, aspire for the standard, allow some timeline in which you want to finish, prepare yourself, plan yourself, prioritize yourself, and then execute, and then you stop at some point, right? Yeah, and I think that's the key, knowing when to stop, not overdo it. At the same time, don't shortchange the secret sauce, right?
Yes. The problem as well is when you are afraid because you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to start. You've got to start first to be able to know that you can excel at things. So, Farzana, how about for yourself? Like, how do you encourage people to embrace progress over perfection in their work?
Celebrate the progress. Even the babyest step is progress, and you got to celebrate them. And so it'll change the mindset of no one is going to be perfect, and nobody knows perfection of what's happening. So even if you're setting up a huge event, and you're the one organizing, you're the only one that knows. And if something goes wrong, nobody knows.
Yeah.
because you're the only one that organized this. So embrace even those moments when, okay, that didn't go well. It's okay. There were so many other things that did, and that's what you celebrate.
Yeah, I like that. For myself, I always give myself a pat on the back when I did something good. I said, "Good job." You also don't wait for others to celebrate you. You can celebrate yourself because you know your standard, right? Like, can you share with me a personal instance in your life, Azim, when you said, "Hey, this is not perfect, but it is progress," especially in doing the Ignite Your Spark Masterclass?
I think, I think counting your blessings, right? Counting your blessings. When you count your blessings multiply. You count your problems multiply, right? So if you look at the masterclass, I mean, the masterclass was an evolution of my first, my ninth book called Spark, Journey from Success to Significance, which was a fable. It's a story, right? So from that, the masterclass was born. Yeah. And I think in the masterclass, if you look at the two classes, we had different personalities. We had different. The first masterclass, we had people from 16 countries. In the second masterclass, we had people from 20 countries. So, but a different mix of people, different levels of people. And again, as Farzana was saying, count your what is working well for you, and celebrate it in terms of counting your blessings. A lot of things happened in the first masterclass. There were different personalities, different strengths came in. Second class had different kind of composure. So it's an evolution. It was not perfect. It's not perfect second time. It won't be perfect the third time, but there has been a growth in terms of excellence, right? And that's the key. So I think progress is where you see, was the second masterclass a little bit better than first masterclass? Yes, it was, because I had Charie and Farzana helping out. So there was a little bit more diversity in the bench strength that we have. The word you use, bench strength. And the second part was we added a new component to the whole class of best practices, right? So there was an evolution, and we brought about the breakout groups in the second one much more than the first one. Yeah, so there was some differentiation. In the third masterclass, there'll be something different. And then the trainer concept has come out from that. So that is progress. It's not perfect, but it's progress. And perfection is only going to happen when you're 6 feet underground. When you die, then it's perfect because you're doing nothing. But when you're doing something, there's always going to be some room to improve, right?
Yeah. And now that goes to the fifth habit, which is unconscious competence. Let's talk about that. What daily habits have helped you make success feel second nature?
Actually, me?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think unconscious competence basically is, if I ask Farzana and you, Sherry, are you breathing right now?
of course.
How do you know you're breathing?
It's natural because
I'm
you're
alive.
alive.
Yeah. The only
You're
reason,
alive, right?
only reason you know you're breathing is because you're alive. So when a habit becomes as natural as breathing, it's called unconscious competence. You drill and you drill and you drill until it becomes as natural as breathing. So it's not, you don't need to think about it anymore, right? Now, to get there requires a lot of discipline, right? And even habits that you form for 30, 40 years, you realize that you can easily slip back to the old ways. Yeah. So it's always going to kind of be able to remind yourself. I think so. The idea is rituals. I was giving an example. Brian Tracy and I were doing an event in South Africa where a few thousand people attending, and I came a day earlier than Brian, so I had some time. So I was walking around the Maslow Hotel in Johannesburg, and I saw a breakout, a workshop room. So I said, let me check it out. So I saw a blackboard, and there was a quote in there. The quote read, "Your daily rituals determine your future success." So what are your rituals when you wake up in the morning? What's the first thing you do? What's the second thing you do? The rituals you create becomes like when you wake up, you brush your teeth, and you don't remind yourself, I have to brush my teeth. You brush your teeth. You don't remind yourself, I got to wear my clothes. You wear your clothes, right? So things that are happening and those rituals becomes habit, then it's natural, right? And that's the idea of creating. And then once in a while, when you travel or when you have guests in your house or something happens, things get off track a little bit. Yeah, and then you got to, or if you get sick and then your schedule changes, you got to go back to your routine, right?
Yeah, yeah. For yourself, Farzana, what are your daily habits that help you achieve success?
I would say that before the master class, I felt like I was kind of stagnant. It just felt like I was a robot doing my job. you know, at work, at home, you know, volunteering. But after the masterclass times two, now that we had the opportunity to do two, I feel like meditation has become like something I'm doing on a regular basis. Journaling is something I'm doing on a regular basis. And I know that listeners out there, some of you will believe in the journaling concept and some of you won't. And that's okay, because it doesn't have to be called journaling. It could be writing down my thoughts. It can be, you know, doing one word of how good I was today and what I'm going to do better tomorrow. Like, it doesn't have to be a chapter of writing so many different things. It's just really just writing your thoughts down so that you can improve every single day.
Yeah. For myself, the daily habits that I have done after taking not just the first, but the second master class is like getting up early in the morning and exercising. Like, no matter how early my day starts, I would make sure that I'd get up like 45 minutes earlier so that I could do my daily exercise. And it helps me have clear thoughts and not just makes me physically active, but my mind is also getting clearer. And of course, journaling has helped me as well. In fact, I'd like to share this. I made a book, I made a journal, I Am Unstoppable journal that has daily affirmations and has spaces for my reflection, etc. Because I want to share that, hey, it really works. And if you do it consistently, it's not the length of time that you do the journal, right? It's the consistency, it's the frequency that makes it a habit. So as we go and welcome 2025. If you have to leave something with our listeners, one tip to carry into the new year, Azim, what would it be?
Yeah, I think managing interruptions is a very important part because life is full of interruptions. Interruptions come from, phone calls, emails, people coming to meet you. Sometimes you interrupt yourself. You're doing something very important, and then you check the football score or something, and then before you know, half an hour is gone somewhere else. So if you're able to manage interruptions and focus on what matters most, focus on what you decided to be your priority, and then single-mindedly get it done, I think that can be transformational because 24 hours is a long time. 24 hours in a day is a long time. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. A day can be like eternity if you really focus on key things that you're doing and don't allow interruptions to come in. Otherwise, they say, every 11 minutes you get interrupted. So you start something important, somebody interrupts you, and then you go back so you're not able to do anything meaningful because you're always being interrupted by things outside your kind of circle, right? Which is so focusing what's valuable, not what is just linear. Linear is how much time I put in something. Valuable is how much value I created in the short time I had, and have that beautiful meeting point of a vision of your ultimate purpose credo. But whatever you're doing in the moment, what I'm doing right now with you, even though I'm speaking to you and I'm answering a question about, one habit, it's aligned to my ultimate purpose credo. That's a beautiful meeting point when the vision and what you're doing in the moment is completely aligned and synchronized, right? But allowing interruptions is very important. That can mess up your whole life.
Yeah, so focus. How about you, Farzana?
I would say make the most of each day.
Yeah,
You know, don't hold back, because Azim is right. You don't know what interruptions are gonna come, and you may miss out on an opportunity that you didn't even realize was standing right in front of you. And so
yeah,
make the most of each day and be grateful. When you wake up in the morning and your feet hit the floor, today's gonna be a good day because I woke up.
yeah,
Not a lot of people can say that.
true. Thank you so much. Always be grateful. Yeah. And so let us just do a recap, Azim. What are the 5 spark habits that you would want to impart with our audience? Just
Yeah.
enumerate them.
So I think what we covered in our masterclass 2 were first things first, focusing on the important, not the urgent. There was unconscious competence. There was effective delegation and focus on excellence, not perfection. Those are the 5 things we covered in the masterclass. And there are 7 other best practices that we will cover in the masterclass 3, and we'll have a different podcast on that. But let's focus on these 5 for now.
So these 5 best practices could lead us well into 2025. First things first, important before urgent, effective delegation, excellence, not perfection, and unconscious competence. Yeah. Without effort, we are into our flow state because we know what we want and we do things towards our purpose. Thank you so much for your time, Azim and Farzana, and for sharing your wisdom and sharing your spark, not just with me, but with our audience. So, to my audience there, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. And if you've got any, um, things that you'd want to share with us as well, please do so. It's great to have that community of sharing. And before I end, I have a final question for Azim and Farzana. What do you expect 2025 to be for yourself? Farzana, what's next for you in 2025?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know what? I think I'm just going to embrace whatever comes my way. 2025 is going to be what it's going to be, but I'm going to embrace it in every possible way.
Amazing. Thank you. Azim.
So for me, my mantra is my last chapter is my best chapter. So my 2025 is going to be my best year of my life. And every day is going to be transformational. Every day I'm going to focus on what things that matter most. Every day is going to be like eternity. And every hour, every minute, every moment is going to be precious.
Wow. What a way to wrap up this episode. Thank you so much, Farzana and Azim. Thank you so much for tuning in to this special episode of Life Expressions. As we get ready to step into 2025, let's remember that the small habits that we commit to every day are what truly shape our lives. Like what Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. Isn't that powerful? It's those little consistent actions that spark success and help us live a life of meaning and impact. So, as you plan for the new year, ask yourself what habits will help you shine brighter, serve deeper, and attract the life that you've always dreamed of. Thank you so much once again for spending your time with me today. And of course, Azim and Farzana, and throughout the year. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need a little extra motivation. Let's keep spreading positivity and purpose together. I can't wait to see what we'll create in the new year. Until then, keep shining, keep growing, and I'll see you in 2025 right here on Life Expressions. I am Charie Ginete-Ilon, and I am unstoppable.